Hello everybody, so in this video we are going to be taking a look at the hands on the 2025 National Mahjong League card and how to make these hands, along with any comments I may have on the hands as we're going through this. Each year there are players throughout the entire card year who have questions on how to make the hands and different questions on them. So hopefully with this video, it'll help with some of the questions people may have in the future and be a good resource. I know a lot of the other teachers on YouTube will do in-depth card reviews. This isn't necessarily going to be so much of that, more of just this is what the hands are and how to make them. So hopefully you guys enjoy it, and we will be using I Love Mahj to do this exercise. I Love Mahj is a great platform, especially for beginners. It's one of my favorite platforms. I play on it a lot. They started out recently doing their duplicate tournaments, which I think are great tournaments for beginners. You play them with robots, so there's no like high stress feeling during these tournaments because you're not playing with other people. You're just really playing against yourself. So they also have Siamese Mahjong on here, so two-player Mahjong. It's a lot of fun to play that style, and you can play with live players as well, and you can even schedule games with your friends that use the platform. So there are exercise rooms, and this is one of the main reasons that I like I Love Mahj so much, especially at the beginning of a card year, because this really helps me get down learning the card. So I'll use this a lot. I'll play a lot, and then I'll use this kind of in my like rest time, because it's not using so much brain effort to do the exercises, or at least some of the exercises, like the make a hand exercise, which is what we will be using. So hopefully this is helpful, and if you are not already using I Love Mahj and you want to try it out, be sure to check out the video description below. I have a code for a 3-week free trial. Usually it's a 2-week trial, but with my code JPMYT, you can get a 3-week free trial. So hopefully you guys enjoy this, and hopefully you find it helpful. Okay, you guys, so we're going to be going in card order with these sections, and we will be going in hand order as well. So we are going to start out with the first 2025 line under the year category, and under this, on this hand, it says that it is requiring any 3 suits like pungs, 2s or 5s, and opposite suits. So the card is going to have it laid out like this. So we're just going to take this bit by bit. So we're going to start out with our grouping of flowers, and then 2025, we're using all 3 suits in this hand. So we can just start out with the BAMs, even though this is, and I'm colorblind, so maybe this isn't green. Maybe it's actually orange, but I think it's green. But no matter what color this is, this will be our first suit. So we're going to have a 2 in the BAMs, and then we're going to go to the soap, and it is used as the 0 on the National Mahjong League card. So anytime you see a 0, you'll be using a soap or white dragon, and then we will be using another 2, 5, and then for this next part here, we can do a grouping of pungs and 2 dots, or 2 cracks, and 2 cracks, or with this hand, we can also go back and do 5 cracks. 5 cracks, so a pung of 5 cracks and a pung of 5 dots. So this will be a valid hand, even though it says 2s on the line. The parentheses specify that your pungs can be 2s or 5s in opposite suits, and we have also all 3 suits used up in this like we're supposed to. So this could have been dots for the 2, 2, 5. It also could have been cracks, and then our suits would have been the remaining suits for the rest of it. So we'll go ahead and validate it, and we've correctly matched up the hand. So I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one. So this one, pretty similar to the 2024 card if you played with it, except for this one, we're doing Pung Kong, Pung Kong, and if you remember for 2024, it was Pung Pung, Kong Kong. So this one is any two suits. So we will go ahead and use two dots. This could have been cracks or bams, didn't matter. We'll use all four soaps, and also could have had jokers in these hands as well, I'm going to say, but just for the sake of the lines and keeping it somewhat straightforward, we're not going to be using jokers unless we have to. So we have the 4 white dragons, and then we got our 2-5 block, which has to be the same suit. So has to be opposite to this suit. So we'll just go with cracks. And then we have our Pung Kong, Pung Kong. So this could have been bams and cracks, or bams and dots, or cracks and bams. Just as long as we had two different suits, whenever a white dragon is used, it's always considered to be a neutral tile. So the white dragon for the 0 is neutral. It does not mean that it's associated with dots, it's just the 0. So we'll go ahead and validate this hand, correctly matched it, and move on to the next hand. So for line 3, we have any 3 suits in this hand. So we will go ahead and we will do 2, 0, 2, 5. And then we have Pung Pung Kong line up in here. So whatever suit we use here has to be opposite to the 2 suits we've to the dragon. So the dragon is opposite to whatever 2 suits we've already used. So if we use 2 dots for the rest of this, dragon has to be green dragon. If we use bams for this lineup of 2s and 5s, the dragon has to be the white dragon. So we'll go ahead and use bams in here. And then what we instantly have to realize is that we've used cracks, bams, and next up our suit is dots to get all 3 suits in here. We've already used a white dragon. So whenever we choose to do the category like, or the hand like this, then we're going to have to use a joker with our dragon. So this would end up being this hand. So 2, 0, 2, 5 for dragons, just making sure it looks good on here. We'll go ahead and validate, and we correctly matched up the specified hand. So we'll go ahead, move on to the last hand in the 2025 section. This is a concealed hand, marked here with the C. So won't be able to call for any of the tiles for this hand. We'll have to draw them all if we were playing in an actual game. So to start out, we have 2 flowers. And I forgot to say, but this specifies any 3 suits, which we can see right here. So we will go ahead and we will do dots. So we'll do pung of 2 dots, pung of our white dragons, and then we'll do 2 bams, and then 5 cracks, pung of 5 cracks. So concealed, pair, pung, 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 pung. So we'll go ahead, validate that we did this hand right, and we did. So that's going to wrap up going over the 2025 section. and then we'll be going into the 2468 section next. Starting off in the 2468 section, we are going to see here that on this line, if we were to read the parentheses, it says any one or two suits. And so we have line 1A here. This line is all one color, so it's going to be only one suit used in this line. So we can make it any suit we want, dots, spams, or cracks. We'll go ahead, just use the cracks. So we will have we'll have a pung kong pattern going on this. So you'll see that the primary pattern on this card is pung kong, just like we had pung kong on the 2024 card. So this is a pretty straightforward, normal hand. This was a hand that I'm sure has been used many times before. So we correctly got this hand, and now we're going to move on to 2468 line 1B, since this was line 1A. Line 1B specified that it is a two-suit hand. So we can do bams, and then we would use cracks or dots. We can use cracks, and then we would use bams or dots, or the same for the dots. We'd have to use cracks or bams. For whatever we use for the first part, we have to use one of the other two suits for the second part. So we'll go ahead, start out with our dots for the 2-4 here. That is going to be the matching suit for these numbers. So we got our pung, kong, and then we got our pung kong in 6-8. We'll just move over here to the bams. All right, so another pretty straightforward hand. Next, we'll move on to line 2, and this will be just like the first line, where it has two different options. They have it as, okay, I see what they've done here. So for the first one, we have an addition hand. So I Love Mahj doesn't show it, but what we have on the card is flower, our Kong of 2s, a plus sign, a Kong of 4s, equal sign, Kong of 6s. So 2 plus 4 is 6. So we'll start out with our flowers, and then our first suit, use whatever we want. We'll go with the cracks. So there's our Kong of 2s. Next, we have to use a different suit because of the new color. So we'll go ahead and use the dots, and then we'll use the final suit for our last grouping, since this is a 3-suited hand. And using all the different colors. We'll go ahead and validate, correctly matched up a hand. Then we're going to move on to line 2B. And this is the same as before, basically. Flower, Kong of 2s, a plus sign. Kong of 6s, though, instead of 4s, equal sign, Kong of 8s. All 3 suits, so suits will be just like the first one. We're just doing 2-6-8 instead of 2-4-8. So flower, doesn't matter what we use for this first suit. It could be any of the 3. We'll go with bams, and then our 6s, we'll go ahead and move to the dots, and then our 8s, move on to the cracks. Go ahead and validate, correctly match the hand to the specific hand. So go ahead, we'll move over to line 3. On line 3, specifies any one suit. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, and a Kong of Dragons. All have to be in the same suit. Pair pung, Kong. So if you remember from last year's card on the 2024 card, we had pair pair, pung pung, Kong. So pretty much almost the same, just slightly different. So we'll go ahead and we will use, I like cracks if you guys haven't noticed. Characters, I should say. I like the character soup. So we will use pair, pung, pair, pung, and then we'll get our red dragon out here for the Kong. So pair, pung, Kong. All one soup. So we could have used dots with the white dragon or the soap, whatever you prefer to call it. Or we could have used BAMs with the green dragon. So we correctly made this hand. Okay, you guys. So on line 4 here, we have any 3 suits like pungs, any even number. So what that means is we'll have our Kong of Flowers, we'll have our individual 2, 4, 6, 8 in the same suit. Has to be all the same suit for this grouping right here. And then we have Pung of Twos and a Pung of Twos, both in opposite suits to this. So if we used cracks here, we have to use dots and BAMs here. If we use dots here, have to use cracks and BAMs here. Same thing if we use BAMs, dots and cracks, or it could be, it doesn't really matter the order, I guess, as far as these go. But whatever we use here, have to use the other 2 suits in this last part. But what we have to remember with this is we can use any even numbers. So these could be pungs of 4s for both of these, pungs of 6s, pungs of 8s, as long as they are both matching 6s or 8s in the other 2 suits that are left, or 4s, doesn't matter, as long as they're matching. That's what we're going for with this hand. So we'll go ahead and make it. We'll just start out with BAMs. 2, 4, 6, 8. So next, we can use whatever we want here. We can have the 2s, just like it shows it. Or we can have 4s or 6s. Or we can have the 8s. Not going to make a difference as long as they're matching. As far as the numbers go, I mean. We have to use all 3 suits, but as long as these 2 groupings are the same number, but in different suits, you'll be fine. So, Kong of Flowers, 2, 4, 6, 8, singles. So no jokers in here. 2, 4, 6, 8 only. Jokers can only be used in pungs, Kongs, or Quints. Just remember that if you're new. Can't use jokers in any of the groupings that look like this. We'll go ahead and validate. We correctly made this hand. And while I'm saying the 2, 4, 6, 8, I should have specified in the 2025 section where we have the 2025, you cannot use a joker in that. It has to be exactly as it's shown. No joker for 2025. For our next hand, we're going to be looking at line 5. So we will be on any one suit for this hand. So all same suit. I was just making sure there wasn't a second option on here. So we have Pung, pair, Pung, Kong. So kind of an odd pattern. And we see something here we haven't seen in a little bit, which is a Pung of Flowers. Past hands, past 2 years, for sure, was just pairs and Kongs for flowers. So we will have a Pung of Flowers, and then all one suit, so we can choose bams, cracks, or dots, doesn't matter. The whole line is going to be that one suit. So we'll go ahead and go with dots, pair, pair, pung, Kong. And there we have that hand. So a pretty straightforward hand as long as you can remember the pattern, but all one suit with flowers. Next line, line 6, we are going to have a 3 suit hand. So get the card back up. So it says on here, any 3 suits, pairs of 8s only. So we can only use 8s in here. We can't use 2s, 4s, 6s. This has to be the 8s. This is a lot like the concealed hand from the 2024 card, if you used it. So whatever one suit we use here, the other 2 suits in here. So we'll just go ahead and do bams, pung, Kong, pung, and then would be pung kong like we've seen in other patterns, but we just have to remember pung kong, pung, pair, pair. And then we got to get the other 2 suits. So it doesn't matter which order we do these in, just as long as they're 8s and the remaining 2 suits for the pairs. All right, line 7. For this one, any 3 suits like Kong's, any even number. So going back to thinking of line 4, if you remember it, the Kong of flowers with the 2, 4, 6, 8 single, and then the 2 pungs, and they could be any even number. This is how this one's going to be. So we have our pair of flowers, and we have all 3 suits being used in here. So we can do bams, cracks, and white dragon, bams, dots, red dragon, just as long as we're making sure we're using all 3 suits here. And then we can do either 2s for both of these, or 4s, 6s for both of these, 8s for both of these. If you kind of think of it as like a like number hand, that's kind of what it's looking like a little bit. But we'll go ahead and use dots in here for our first suit. Our second suit, we can use any suit but the dots. We'll go ahead and use the bamboo suit, so we'll have the green dragon in here. And then the remaining 2s has to be the cracks. So it's our last suit, and it has to match these. So alternatively, we could have made the 6s. So we used cracks here. We'll go ahead and use the white dragon on here for our second suit. Third suit, we're going to have to use bams, and we have to keep with the 6s. So we correctly got through that hand. And then we're going to move on to the last hand in 2, 4, 6, 8. This is going to be the concealed hand. This one also reminds me of the concealed hand under the 2024 card. Just in how it's looking, because it had this kind of setup, but there's no flowers, and it changed it a little bit. So we have pairs 2, 4, 6, 8 with 2 pungs. So if we look at the parentheses on here, any 3 suits like pungs, any even number. So big difference in this hand and the concealed hand last year, though, is that the pungs, we have choices with it. So 3 suits in this. So this first grouping is 1 suit, a second suit, and then a third suit. So we'll go ahead and start out with the cracks. So 2, 4, 6, 8. And then right here, we can use any even number. So just like before, we can do hands of twos, getting our 3 suits in here, or we can do 4s if we wanted to. So we'll go ahead and do that. And this would be just as good. So we could do 6s here for both of these pungs, or 8s for both of these pungs. Doesn't matter. And we correctly made the hand. So next, we're going to move on to the any like number section. So any like numbers, just like last year, this is a small category. There are only 3 hands in this category. We're going to look at line 1 first, and it just specifies in the parentheses any 3 suits. So we have pair, Kong, single, pair. So a little bit of a odd pattern we got going on here. I suspect it'll take some getting used to this one, for me at least. So just as long as we have 1 suit, 2 suit, and then our 3rd suit right here, we'll be good with this hand. So we can go ahead and any like numbers, as long as our numbers are all matching, doesn't matter which number we use. So if we wanted to use 7s in here, we'll go ahead and start with our flowers first, and then our first Kong will be 7 cracks. Have to use the matching dragon, so we have to use the red dragon. Next, doesn't matter which suit we use as long as it's not cracks. We'll go ahead and use the dots, and then we have to use the white dragon in here for the single D. And then last, we have to use the final suit, so that would be BAMs as far as this hand goes. So we could have done this another way too. We could have done BAMs here, green dragon with the cracks over here. Doesn't matter. We could have used 4s for all of our numbers. Could have used 2s. Doesn't matter. So we'll go ahead and validate this. Correctly matched up the specified hand. So we'll go ahead and move on to the next. So this one, almost like the hand on the 2024 card. We're using any 3 suits, but the pairs, which is the difference in the 2024 hand and the 2025 hand that's similar to this, or that are similar to each other. The difference is that the pairs must be in the same suit, and it has the pairs. So 2024 hand, just so you can see what I'm talking about, it was Kong, Pung, Kong, Pung. So that's why I'm saying it's a little similar, because we got 2 Kongs in here basically. Kong of flowers, and then really there is a Kong of the same number in one of the suits, but the card is using it as pairs, so you cannot use jokers here. These have to be individual pairs. That means whenever you are playing this hand, you're either going to have your Kong of at least 1 number with no jokers, which will be separated out whenever you make the final hand showing your winning hand, or you're ready to win on the last one. So you have 3 of them, but you need the last actual tile of the numbers, so no joker. So I'll go ahead and show this hand. So we have Kong of flowers. We got our first suit coming up here. We know we're using all 3 suits. We'll go ahead and use the dots. So that's our pair right there. Color indication, new suit. We're going to go ahead and use the cracks. So that gets that grouping, and then on to the next grouping, using the BAMs because it's the only suit left. So we have that Pung, and then last, the colors are the same. We're going back to the first suit, which is the dots. So this is what I'm meaning. You can't use the Joker in a pair. That's always coming up all the time. You cannot use a Joker in a pair, even though this hand has a Kong in it of 1 dots. These are considered 2 separate groupings, and you cannot use a Joker in them due to that. So, just to help with anybody who's confused, we'll go ahead and make this hand again. We're going to go ahead and use different numbers though. Got 1s here, but we could use 7s if we wanted to. So we have our pair here. In our first suit, we'll go ahead and move on to our next suit. So we got a pung of dots, pung of bams, and then again onto the color, back onto the final one. So we could use Jokers with the flowers, with the pungs, so with our dots or bams, and it would be perfectly fine. But we cannot use it with our 7 cracks. So just keep that in mind whenever you're playing this hand. We'll go ahead and validate. Correctly made the hand. We'll move on. All right, so line 3 is the final line. Something to take note of with this is this is a concealed hand. It doesn't say on here that it's a concealed hand like I Love Mahj had listed before. I'm guessing they might have accidentally left it off. But 2024, if you remember, there were no concealed hands in like numbers. So a little bit of a change for the 2025 card. This is a concealed hand. Any 3 suits with any dragon. So the way that the colors are lined up on here, you wouldn't really be able to tell, but we have flowers which do not belong to a specific suit. We have suit 1, suit 2, and suit 3. Even though this dragon matches up with this suit, it does not mean that it can't be one of these other suits here. So we'll go ahead and make this hand, show you guys for an example. So flower, flower. We'll use dots for our first pung. Second pung, we'll use bams. Cracks for our last pung. So we got suit 1, suit 2, suit 3. Suit 1, suit 2, suit 3. And then same suit. I know the card shows it as matching this suit, but instead of using the red dragon right there, you can have this as the green dragon. We go ahead and validate. We correctly made the hand. So dragon, you can use any dragon you want for this. Red dragon, green dragon, white or soap, whatever you want to call that dragon. Any of the dragons would work here as long as it's a pung of the same dragon. All right, you guys, so that's going to wrap up the any like numbers section. And then next we'll be moving on to Quints. So for line 1 of Quints, we have a pair of flowers, pung, kong, kong for our pattern. And if we look on here to the parentheses, any 3 suits, any 3 consecutive numbers. So we could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We can't do 8, 9, 1 though. Hands don't wrap around with the National Mahjong League card. So it has to be consecutive numbers 1 through 9 with no wraparound going on. So the highest number that this could be is a 7. The lowest number this can be is a 3. So we'll go ahead and make this hand. We'll have flower, flower. Have our pung of 1s and the first suit. So any suit we want. The 2s. Any one of the remaining suits. We'll go ahead and go with dots. So a kong of 2 dots. And then for the last one, we have to use the bamboo suit. So we have our 3s in here. We have to use a joker. Since there are 5 tiles in this grouping, and we know that there are only 4 of each tile, jokers required. That's why this is under Quints. So we have 1, 2, 3. So this would be a valid hand here. Or we could have started this with a different part of the run. We'll go ahead and make it 4s. So we'll do 4 crack. And then we'll do 5 bam. And 6 dot. So this one's not too bad to remember either, just as long as you remember it's progressive. So we have pair, pung, kong, quint. So you're adding 1 tile to each grouping as you go along. So starting with 2, then 3, then 4, then 5 tiles per grouping. So we'll go ahead and validate this. Correctly made the hand. So we'll go ahead and move on to line 2. So I was kind of surprised when I saw this hand. I wasn't sure that we would see the hand from last year show up, and they kind of did a little surprise with it and changed it up a little bit, which actually I guess is not too surprising. I think this might have been a hand in the past. I think they've used flowers here or dragons here because it says any 1 suit, any 2 consecutive numbers with any wind. So all the same suit, winds are neutral, don't belong to a specific suit, so we don't need to worry about that here. But we have consecutive numbers, so we'd be 1, 2, or 2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9. So the highest number this could be is an 8, and the lowest number this could be is a 2, because we'd have 8, 9, or 1, 2. So you could never have 9, 1, just like before. There are no wraparounds. So we'll go ahead and make this. So 1 suit, we'll just go with dots. And it's a quint, kong, quint pattern. So 5, 5, 4 to make up our 14. So we have 1, 1, 1. So that's our first quint. Wind, it has north on here, but it could be any wind we wanted it to be. Just making a line just like the card shows. Then our next one, we'll change it up a little bit. So we're doing 1 suit here. We have to do dots. So we have 1, north, 2, all 1 suit. This would be valid, but we could also do this a different way. We can do 3. So we got our first quint. Next, we can do any of these winds, east, west, south, north, whatever we want. Doesn't matter. We'll go with west, Conga west, and then 4 dots because we're consecutive. So 3, 4. And there we go. So we could have done cracks for the 3 and the 4. We could have done bams. Just as long as the 3 and 4 are the same suit and they are consecutive numbers, we would be good. Go ahead, validate. We correctly made this hand. So next we will move on to the last hand under Quint, because there are only 3 hands in this section. And this is a like number quint. So we have pair, quint, pair, quint. So we'll go ahead, and this just reminds me, just get flashbacks to the 2024 card with this, where it was the Kong, Pung, Kong, Pung. Because I mean it's pretty similar as well to the like number hand that we have on the 2025 card as well. So We'll see how this goes. We might see a lot of quints going on with this, because like numbers are very popular, and if you got the jokers, it can be pretty easy to switch over from like number hand to this quint. So we have 3 suits on here. So 1 suit, 2 suit, 3 suit. Whatever we want for this first suit, we'll go with, I guess I usually start out as the actual hand. So we'll go with ones. Have to use a joker because it's quint. And then we got our pair. We'll go with dots. Oh, whoops. Sorry, these have to be the same numbers. I was getting a little ahead of myself. So dots of ones. And then cracks. All right, so this would be a valid hand here. Or use whatever number we want. We want to use nines. Go ahead and use nines. And here we have it for this quint. So pretty straightforward quint. Oh wait, what did I do? Oh, whoops, I accidentally hit the wrong nine. So that would have been Kong, pair, Kong. Sorry guys, hit the wrong tile. Got a little ahead of myself here at the end. So 9 bam shouldn't have been there. So we can fix it. There we go. Now we made it right. All right, so next section, consecutive run. All right, guys, so it's consecutive run. There are 8 hands in this category. So we're going to start out with the first line, pretty similar to the 2024 line. And actually, if I remember right, and I may be wrong, but I was thinking this line was the same on the 2023 card because it's pair pung kong pung pair, so you have a pyramid shape going on here. With the 2024 card, it was pung pair kong pair pung, so people were calling it like a sombrero pattern going on with it, but I'm pretty sure 2023 was this pattern here, so a pyramid. So just 2 3 4 3 2, so adding up to 4 and then taking 1 away down to 2. So with this line, it's these numbers only, so make sure you keep that in mind whenever you're playing this hand. Same last year. Line 1 was these numbers only for the 1 through 5, and it's any one suit for this. And there's also 2 options on line 1. So we have 1 through 5, and then we will see it on the next hand, but then we have 5 through 9. So we'll go ahead and make this. We can do any suit we want. We'll just go with dots. So pair of ones, pung of 2 dots, kong of 3 dots, pung of 4 dots, pair of 5 dots. So remember, we got our pairs here. Can't use jokers here. Can only use the jokers in the 2s, 3s, and 4s. And these numbers will never change. So this hand will look like this each time, except you could do it in cracks or bams. Doesn't matter. So we correctly made this hand. So we'll go ahead and move on to line 2 or line 1B. This is just like before. 1 suit, these numbers only, same pattern. So we'll go ahead and do this one in bams. So we have pair, pung, kong, pung, pair. All right, so 5 through 9, just as before. All right, so next we have line 2A. So this line It has the A and B option for it. So for the A option, it's any one suit, any 4 consecutive numbers. So we go back to that pattern that we saw with the 2, 4, 6, 8 hand, the first hand, and also the second 2025 hand. So we see that pung kong pattern show up again. So this will be all one suit because we're all one color on here. So we'll go ahead and do pung, kong, pung, kong. So 3, 4, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that's correct on this hand, but any 4 consecutive numbers. So we could have done 6, 7, 8, 9. Also would have been fine. We could have done 3, 4, 5, 6. That would have been fine as well. Whenever we're looking at this, this number here, 4, is the lowest number this will ever be at the end of this hand. And the beginning of this hand, the highest number it will ever be is 6. Because we'll have 1, 2, 3, 4. You can't go any earlier than 1. Soap can't be counted as a 0. We can't do 0, 1, 2, 3. Has to be 1, 2, 3, 4 for the start. And then 6, 7, 8, 9 for the ending. We couldn't do 7, 8, 9, 1. No wraparound. So 6, 7, 8, 9. All one suit. All right, we correctly made this hand. We'll go ahead and move on to 2. So we moved on 2B, 2A, 2B. Here we go. So any 2 suits, and it's the same as before. Any 4 consecutive numbers. And if you have one of the early printings of the 2025 card, which at the time of this video, a lot of people might end up getting that card. And I have heard that it was probably the large print card, but I don't know about the small print, the standard size print card. Maybe it was unaffected, but I saw that there was a oh wait, sorry, I'm thinking of the next hand. So this one's fine. This one's fine. We'll talk about this in a second. What I'm talking about right now. So just forget what I said. This is just 2 suits on this one. We'll go ahead and make it. So pung kong, and it's still pung kong. Pung kong is just 1 suit for this grouping, 2nd suit for this grouping. So pung kong, and then whatever we want, bams or dots, doesn't matter. Pung kong. All right, and then we also could have done pung kong. Whoops, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we also could have done that 3, 4, 5, 6. As long as it's 2 suits, first 2 groupings are the same suit, second 2 groupings are the same suit, just like the colors on the card indicate. All right, correctly made it. All right, and then we're on to line 3A. So this is kind of reminiscent of the hand on the 2024 card, and it was also on the 2023 card, I believe. I know there was a similar hand. I think it might have used dragons actually though. So on the 2024 card, I know for sure though, it was a pair of flowers and then Kong, Kong, Kong. They've changed it. It's Kong, Kong, pair Kong now for this pattern. And something to take note of, very similar kind of shape to that quint, but that is a like number quint, so I guess that's not a good comparison. There was a quint that was similar on the 2024 card to a consecutive run, so that's kind of what I was thinking of for a second, but doesn't matter with this one, so you just forget that. So we have Kong, and then consecutive run, so any one suit, any 3 consecutive numbers. So all same suit here, Kong, pair, Kong. But we also could have done 5, 6, 7. So Kong, pair, Kong. As long as we're keeping with one suit and keeping that pattern, we're good. Made that. And this is what I was talking about for this hand earlier with the printing issue. On the, I know for sure on some of the cards, it has this all as one color and it's all green on the card, including the flower, which if you look at the rest of the flower hands, the flower is not green. So it was definitely a mistake. And in Mah Jongg, that's it. Jan Agri, I believe. She's one of the admins for that group. I believe it was her. She said she called the National Mahjong League and verified that it was supposed to be 3 suits for this. So 3 suits, any 3 consecutive numbers. So this is just like before, except we're using all 3 suits. So first suit we'll use cracks. For our pair we'll use bams. And the second Kong we'll use dots. And then I forgot we also need to add in our flowers at the beginning here. So I Love Mahj will want us to make it correctly in order, or else it'll mark it as wrong. So we'll go ahead and do 1, 2, 3. So that's perfectly fine. And then it's consecutive run. We also could have done 5, 6, 7. So this is also correct here. Any 3 consecutive numbers, any 3 suits for line 3B. All right, so line 4. And this one reminded me of the hand under consecutive run in 2024 that had the quint of flowers, but they changed it up a little bit. No longer have a quint of flowers, but we have a pung of flowers. And then we have 1, 2, 3. This is considered a single. You cannot use jokers in here. And then also forgot to read the parentheses. Any 3 suits, any 5 consecutive numbers. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have dots here. Have to have our second suit for the 4 and third suit for the 5s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be correct for this hand. And alternatively, looking at this hand, the lowest number that you could use here for this hand is a 5. So what we would be doing here is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's no wraparound. Or we could do 4, 5, 6. As long as this is one suit, we're good. So 4, 5, 6, and then we'll do 7, 8. So there's our second suit, and then our third suit here. And then, just as I was mentioning earlier, earliest we could do is 5. So 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's fine as well. All right, you guys. So now we're on to line 5. On line 5, it says any one suit, any 3 consecutive numbers. So looking at this, pair of flowers, and then we have the pattern of pair, pung, Kong, Pung. So kind of an odd pattern going on here, but 1, 2, 3, matching dragon to the suit, could be 4, 5, 6. So we're all one suit. Flowers don't have a suit, so we'll have our 2 flowers. And then we'll have 1, 2, 3. That's Kong. And then our dragon, a Pung of green dragons, because we're all in one suit. Alternatively, could have done 6, 7, 8 with the red dragon. So the lowest this number can ever be is a 7. 7, 8, 9. No wraparound. And then have to remember, we cannot use jokers with our pair of flowers or our pair of 6s. All right, we correctly made this hand. Go ahead and move on. We're on line 6 now. So for line 6, it says any 3 suits, any 3 consecutive numbers with opposite dragons. All right, so what this means is we have one suit here. So our 1, 2, 3 has to be in the same suit. And then opposite dragons, we have to have a pair of dragons in another suit. And then a pair of dragons in the last available suit. So if we did bams, cracks, dots, that's fine. We did dots, cracks, bams, that's fine as well. So we'll go ahead and make this. We'll just do dots. 1, 2, 3. So Pung, Pung, Kong. And then we'll do pair, pair. So that's how this hand would look. We can't use white dragons in here because white dragons belong to the dot suit, and we're using all 3 suits in this hand. So alternatively, if we made this hand differently, we would do, because we're any 3 consecutive numbers, so we can just start out with the 3s if we want. Pung, Pung, Kong. Then we have to use the 2 remaining suits. So we'll have a pair of white dragons, pair of green dragons. All right, and then same as before, no jokers in our pairs of dragons. All right, and then this hand, it's a little interesting. Actually, it kind of reminded me of some of the old hands that you would see on a National Mahjong League card, because I have like a card from the oh, what year is it? It's way back. It's like before the 70s, I think. So we have any 5 consecutive numbers, pair any number in run. So any number in the run for the pair. Kongs match the pair. So this hand, I suspect, will be a little confusing to some people. We have 1 suit here, though. These are all singles in a pair. So no jokers in this entire area right here. And then we have Kong Kong. So you can use the jokers here. This is an exposable hand as well. It's not concealed. The way that the card shows it, we'd be in our first suit, so we can do bams, dots, or cracks, whatever we want to do for this first part. We'll go ahead and do dots. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So any 5 consecutive numbers. Now with this setup, our Kongs have to match the pair. our ones are paired. So just like the card shows, our Kongs would have to be ones in the remaining 2 suits because we're using all 3 suits in this hand. All right. So this is how this hand would look. So we made it correct. But alternatively, we could make it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So our 4s are our pair. And then have to have same number as our pair for the Kongs. So we'd be 4 dots and 4 bams. So that's an alternative way to make this hand. And then this being consecutive run, we also have the flexibility of being in consecutive run because we can do any 5 consecutive numbers. So the lowest number you could have, or the highest number you could have for this first part is a 5. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So keeping that in mind, we can pick anything 5 or below for this first part. We'll just go with 3. So we'll go 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I'll make the 7 our pairs, or our pair. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then our Kongs have to match the pair. So then we'll be cracks here, or it could have been dots. Doesn't really matter because we got the dots here. So 3, 4, 5, 6 with 7 as the pair. Kongs match the pair. All right, so we correctly made this hand. So hopefully that made sense. This is a little bit confusing of a hand, especially for new players who aren't familiar with reading the card as some of the more veteran players. Just remember, pay attention to the parentheses whenever you're looking at cards. They're there to help you. And just remember that if it's a grouping that is not a pung of all the same number, at least a pung of all the same number, you cannot use a joker in it. So this 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in the bamboos we got here, we cannot use jokers in any of this. It will be an invalid hand if you do so. All right, and then on to the final consecutive run hand. This is a concealed hand. And we have any 2 suits, any 3 consecutive numbers. So there was a hand a lot like this on the 2024 card. It was single pair Kong, single pair Kong. There were no flowers in it. So if you played with the 2023 card, or 2024 card, sorry, then moving over to this one isn't so bad to remember. But we have a pair of flowers, and then we have 1, 2, 3. So single pair pung in one suit, and then single pair pung in a second suit. Doesn't matter which suit we use, whether that be the dots or the bamboos, doesn't matter. We'll use the bamboos. We have 1, 2, 3. So we can't call for any of this because it's a concealed hand. We have to draw it all. And we can only use jokers in these pungs. So we cannot use jokers with the single or the pair, or with the flowers, or this single or that pair. So if we made 1, 2, 3 our run, we could only use jokers in the 3s. All right, so we validate that. Correctly made it. We'll try again and we'll mix it up a little bit. Have to have our flowers. And then the lowest number this could possibly be is a 7. So we can use any number we want to start out with, as long as it's at least a 7. We can go with 5, doesn't matter. 5, so single, pair 6, pung 7. 5, 6, 7. And then second part has to be same 3 consecutive numbers. So we'll have 5, 6, 7, but in a second suit because this is a 2-suit hand. All right, we correctly made that hand, and that's going to wrap up consecutive run. So hopefully you found that helpful. And next we'll be moving on to 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. For 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, there are 9 hands in this category. So just as last year, we have a pretty similar hand coming up. And if you remember from consecutive run, this was basically, I mean, it is the same pattern. So if you can remember that, line 1 of consecutive run and line 1 of 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 is using the same pattern. This is any one suit for 1A though, under this 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 section. So we can do all one suit for this in either bams, dots, cracks, doesn't matter. We can do dots, pair, pung, kong, pung, pair. So pair, pung, 1, 3, 5 is kong, 7 is a pung, and a pair for our 9s. So 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, and then we also could have done cracks or bams. So pretty straightforward hand, especially thinking back to the consecutive run hand and just remembering that the pattern of the hand is the same. You're going into a pyramid shape with this, 2, adding 1, and then you're subtracting 1, subtracting 1. So 2, 3, 4, 3, 2. Pyramid shape. All right. And then it's those numbers only as well. Have to remember consecutive run, or not consecutive run, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, unless it states otherwise, you are only using those numbers in the hand. Unless the hand says you can do something different, you are only using 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 just as it's shown in the hand. So this one here, we're using any 3 suits. So this will be the first suit, second suit, and third suit. So doesn't matter what order we do this in. We can do bams, and then kongs, or cracks, I mean. So bams, cracks, dots. So that's perfectly fine here. And I kind of did it in the matching color, but we could have done it different too. We could do cracks, dots, and bams. So just as long as we remember that we're in 3 suits, 1 and 3 is in 1 suit, the 5 is in the second suit, and then the 7 and 9 is in the third suit, and we remember our pyramid shape, and this hand's pretty straightforward. All right, okay, so on to line 2. So for this one, there are 2 options, a line 2A and a line 2B, and they are any 2 suits, and we are in that pung kong pattern. So we have pung kong, 1, 3, 3, 5, pretty common hand as well. This was on the 2024 card, except it was pung kong, 1, 3, 3, 5, just like that. But now we're pung kong. So for line 1A, we can do 1 suit here and a second suit here. Doesn't matter which 2 suits we use, as long as our 1 and 3 are the same suit, and then our 3 and 5 are the same suit. So we have pung, kong, pung, kong. So that's a correct version of this. And then we also could have done pung, kong, pung, kong. So any two suits, 1, 3, 3, 5. All right, line 2B, we're basically exactly the same as line 2A, except instead of 1, 3, 3, 5, we're doing 5, 7, 7, 9. So you'll see that a lot in the 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 category, where hands are divided in 1, 3, 5, and 5, 7, 9. So with this one, I'll just show one example because it's basically exactly the same as before, just with 5, 7, 7, 9. Do pung, kong, pung, kong. And nice thing about these hands, you can use jokers all throughout it because we only have pungs and kongs in here. There are no singles and there are no pairs. All right, so next we're on to line 3A, and on this one it says we are any one suit. So this hand is a lot like the hand on the 2024 card where it has 1, 3, 5 dragon, except on 2024 it was flower 1, 3, 5 dragon, and the 1 was a pair, and there was a pair of flowers. So if you played with 2025 card or 2024 card, might not be so bad switching over to using this one. We have Kong, Pung, Kong, Pung though, so we're a little inverted. We still have that Pung Kong pattern, but it starts with the Kong this time. So we're any one suit. So we can either do for this entire thing bamboos with the green dragon, cracks with the red dragon, or dots with the white or soap dragon. So we have Kong, Pung, Kong, Pung. Have to use the red dragon in here since that's the suit it belongs to. So correctly made it, and then we'll just make it one more time with a different one. So Pung or Kong, Pung, Kong, Pung. All right, you guys. So all one suit, not such a bad hand. Just have to remember instead of Pung Kong, it's Kong Pung Kong Pung. Move on to line 3B, and we're pretty much exactly the same except we're 5, 7, 9 this time. So back to that odd category, doing hands with either 1 through 5 or 5 through 9. So we'll see this option a lot. So it doesn't matter what suit we use, we're still one suit. So 5, 7, 9 with the green dragon. And then just do that one example here since we basically covered that under 1, 3, 5 dragon. All right, and then this hand, little bit different. We have an addition hand. So we have any two suits with these numbers only. So they actually got the plus and the equal sign in here too. They didn't get those into the 2, 4, 6, 8 lines, but it makes it a lot easier to see on here. So we are any two suits. So 1 and 9 with a 1, and remember 0 is white dragon. So we have to use a white dragon or a soap here. 1 plus 9 equals 10. So these are the same suit, and then this is the second suit. So we could have, whoops, sorry, we're starting with flowers. Flowers. A Kong of 1s, Kong of 9s, and then we can have a 1 and a soap. But remember, whenever the white dragon or soap is being used as a 0, it is a neutral tile. So this is correct, but this is also correct. So 1 BAM with a white dragon is also correct here. So we have 2 suits. Flowers are neutral. They don't belong to a suit. This is correct. So if we wanted to make it this way, we could as well. 1. Oh, whoops. I always forget the flowers. All right. So 1, 9. And then we have 1, 0. So this is also correct. We still have 1 suit here, 2 suits here. Soap is still neutral, so it's still fine. 1, 9, 10. All right, correctly made that. And then just remember, can't use jokers for that 1 or the soap. For the 10 part, at least. The Kong of 1s and the Kong of 9s, use as many jokers as you want. But the 10 part, no jokers. All right, so for this next hand, we are any 1 suit, because this is a two options in this hand. So there's an A and a B option. So any 1 suit here, 3 flowers, and then we have to use 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. These are not changeable. Any suit we want, we can use BAMs, we can use cracks, we can use dots. Doesn't matter. We'll do 1, 3, 5 in dots, and then we have to do 7, 9. So all 1 suit, 1, 3, 5 singles, no jokers in here. Has to be the 1, 3, 5. 7s and 9s though, use as many jokers as you want. Same with the flowers, use as many jokers as you want. So that's correct. And then we could have done cracks or BAMs. Now we're on to line B. This is any 3 suits. So we have to do 1 suit for the 1, 3, 5, a 2nd suit for the 7s, and a 3rd suit for the 9s. So we have the flowers, and then we'll do 1, 3, 5 in cracks. Since we use the cracks here, we have to use BAMs and dots. And it doesn't matter if we did the BAMs for the 7 or the 9, as long as we did dots for the opposite. So we can have 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, or we can have 7 BAMs and 9 dots. All 3 suits, just as long as all 3 are accounted for, we're good to go with this. Changing suits when the card changes color. All right, so we will move on to line 6. And for line 6, any 3 suits with opposite dragons. We have Pung Pung, Kong, Pair, Pair. Which consecutive run had a hand that looked like this? So if we remember back to consecutive run, it would be line 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Line 6 under consecutive run. Oddly enough, this is line 6 under 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So that hand looked basically like this, except we're doing 1, 3, 5 only in here. So we have 1 suit for our 1, 3, 5, and then the remaining 2 suits are used for our pair of dragons. So we'd have 1, 3, 5, Pung Pung Kong, with 2 pairs of opposite dragons. Since we used dots, we'd have to use BAMs and cracks. So green dragon and red dragon. All right, correctly made that hand. So I'm just going to show you alternative. Could have done BAMs. And since we used BAMs, we'd have to use red dragon for the cracks and the white dragon for the dots. All right. So now we're moving on to line 6B. Basically the same as the hand we just did, but instead of 1, 3, 5, we have that 5, 7, 9 thing going on. So now we're just making it in that. So we'll just do one example of this since it's the same pattern. So we have pung, pung, kong with our pairs. So we use dots, so we had to use the opposite dragons. 5, 7, 9, dragon, dragon. Correctly made it. So we'll move on to line 7A. Under line 7A, we get a little surprise in here. We get news showing up. So we're still following that 1, 3, 5, focusing on 1, 3, 5 for 7A, or any two suits in here. So it's pung or pair, pung, news, which some people like to think of news as a kong of singles. So if we remember back to our pyramid shape, we have pair, pung, kong, pung, pair. So we have the same pyramid shape going on. So if you can remember that pyramid shape again, pung or pair, pung, kong, pung, pair. But we have 1, 3, news, 3, 5. I actually like this hand. I think this is a fun hand. So we have any two suits. So we can do 1, 3, as long as the 1 and 3 is matching. Then we have news. And then we have 3, 5. Since we used cracks, we could use either bams or dots. So we'll do 3, 5. All right, so I think for the most part, that's a pretty straightforward hand. Just wrap your head around that pyramid shape coming into play here. And now for 7B, we're on to the same thing, except we're doing 5, 7, 9. So we're still in two suits. So we have 5, 7, news, 7, 9. All right, so pretty straightforward, just like before, pyramid shape, we're just doing 5, 7, 7, 9. All right, so now we are on to line 8. Line 8, parentheses, specify any two suits. So whenever I saw this hand, it reminded me of 2024's 2, 4, 6, 8 hand, except it was flowers, 2 flowers, 2, 4, 6, and then since there were flowers used in it, there wasn't another pair here, and then the 8s. So that's kind of my way that I'm going to use to remember this one. But we have kong, pair, 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 kong, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So it uses all the odd numbers. But we're in two suits. So just have to remember the 1s and 9s will be the same suit and our pairs will be the same suit. So kongs are the same suit, pairs are the same suit. We cannot use jokers in our pairs, just like normal rule, no jokers in the pairs. Kongs, we can use all the pairs we want. So 1, 1, 1, and then second suit, because we got a color change, 3, 3, 5, 5, 7, 7, and then we're only in two suits and the color matches here. So we're back to dots. So that's right. Or we could have been 1, 1, 1, 3, 3, 5, 5, 7, 7, 9, 9. All right. So just remember your pairs are the same suit, kongs are the same suit. All right, and then on to line 9. This is a concealed hand. They have the concealed marker on here as well. And this is any 3 suits. So we have pair, 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 pung, pung, pair. kind of a wild pattern they have going on there for this one. So that's like, I feel like this would be somewhat difficult hands. 4 pairs, 2 pungs. And then we have all 3 suits. So 1 and 3 in one suit, 1 and 3 in a second suit, and then our 5s are in the third suit. So we can choose anything we want for this first part here. We can go with cracks. So pair 1 3, pung in a second suit because we have a color change. And then our final pair being the 5s, another color change. So we're into the last suit of bamboos. We have suit 1, suit 2, suit 3 represented. So we correctly made that. And then it'd be the same if we did it differently. 1 1 3 3 1 1 3 3 5. And it's always going to be these numbers only. So you can't change it up any. Always 1 3 1 3 5 for line 9A. Line 9B, we have that similar change up we're kind of used to in this section, 5 7 9. So 5 7 5 7 9. So we'll just run through this one real quick because it's basically exactly the same as line 9A. 5 5 7 7. So that's suit 1. I have a color change, so we're on to suit 2. And then another color change for our pair of 9s, 5 7 5 7 9. All right, you guys, well, that wraps up 1 3 5 7 9. Hopefully you found it helpful. On to our next section, we will be in Winds and Dragons. All right, you guys, so for Winds and Dragons, line 1A, we see a repeat hand here. We have news with Kong, Pung, Kong pattern. Exactly what we had on the 2023 card. So north and south are Kongs, east and west are Pungs. So there's no flexibility in line 1A as far as winds go because you're putting the tiles exactly as they're shown. So we have a Kong of North, a Pung of East, a Pung of West, and a Kong of South. As many jokers as you want in this hand. And it looks exactly like this. So we're going to validate. We're going to move on to line 1B. This is exactly as we saw on the 2024 card as well. Pung, Kong, Pung. Again, we're putting this one exactly as we see it. We can't change anything with this for line 1B. So the only difference is the east and west are now the Kongs and the north and south are Pungs. So Pung, Kong, Pung. All right, it's pretty straightforward with those. As many jokers as you want. No limitation on that. All right, so on to this one. We have any 3 consecutive numbers in any one suit. Any 3 dragons. So that's exactly as it reads on the card. So what that means is we have our pair of flowers. 1 2 3. Any 3 consecutive numbers. This could be 4 5 6 7 8 9. With it being consecutive, there's no wraparound on the National Mahjong League card. So 7 is the first number, or at least 7's the biggest number you can use here. So 7 8 9, and doesn't matter which suit you use as long as all of these are in the same suit. And then for the rest of this hand, the dragons, it doesn't matter which dragons you use. As long as you have a pair of a dragon in one suit, a Pung of a dragon in a second suit, and a Kong of a dragon in a third suit. So we'll show some examples of that. So we have pair, and then we can do 1, 2, 3. Pair right here, be whatever we want. We want it to be the soap. We can have it as the soap. Tong, Kong. Alternatively, we could have done this different. We could have done pair, Pung, Kong. Would have been perfectly fine as well. The numbers, the suit that the numbers use here does not matter with the dragons. As long as you have a pair of a dragon in one suit, a Pung of a dragon in a second suit, and a Kong of a dragon in a third suit, you're good. Just remember with this, just as before, singles and pairs. No jokers. No jokers in the flower, no jokers in the singles, no jokers in the pair of dragons used for the first set of dragons. The Pung of dragons and the Kong of dragons, many jokers as you want. So this is one option for this hand. Since we're in any 3 consecutive numbers, we could have done this differently. We could have done 7, 8, 9 for that run. We also could have done 4, 5, 6. So we use bamboos here, but it doesn't matter. We can use pair of soaps, Pung of green dragons, Kong of red dragons. That would be fine. Also could do pair of soaps, Pung of green, Kong of red. Doesn't matter. All right, correctly made the hand. So next we will be moving on to line 3. Line 3, there are no notes on this hand. There's no parentheses, no special notes here. The way it looks is the way the hand is. It's very similar to the flower news hand on the 2024 card. The only difference is they made the flower, instead of it being a pair, it is now a Pung. In the East, instead of it being a Pung, it is now a pair. So we have flower, 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 flower. I threw an extra flower in. And then pair of news. So 2 North, 2 East, Pung of West, and a Kong of South. There's no flexibility in this hand. You have to play it as you see it. The East and West can't switch. You can't be Pung of East and a pair of West. It has to be Pung, pair, pair, Pung, Kong. So you can use jokers in this hand for the West, the South, and the flower, but the North and East have to be pairs, no jokers. All right, and then on to the Dragon News hand, which I did like this hand. I didn't get to play it as much as I thought I would on the 2024 card. It changed slightly from that one. We have a Kong of flowers on here. We used to only have a pair, and then it was Kong, Kong, but now we're Kong, Pung, News, Pung. So not too bad of a change up to remember if you played with the 2024 hand. And we are in any 2 suits. So the dragons, just as long as our Pungs are different dragons, it doesn't matter which dragons we use. So we could do green with news and soap, or we can do cracks, news, green, doesn't matter. We can use jokers everywhere in this hand except for in news. News is a grouping of singles, so you cannot use jokers in this because they are not identical tiles. All right, and then on to line 5. So for line 5, it says any like odd numbers in 3 suits. So it doesn't say anything on the wins. So because the wins don't have any specification, we have to use north and south. So north and south has to be used with odd numbers is what it's coming down to. So we have to have a Kong of north, we have to have a Kong of south, and we have to have single, pair, pung. So north, and then we'd have single, pair, pung, and then this could have been different as well. It could have been single, pair, pung. That's fine too. And then we have our Kong of south. All right, so valid hand. And since it says any like odd numbers, we could have also done this different. We could have had our Kong of north. These numbers that we use for here could be 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. So kind of think of this as an odd hand. We can use any 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 in here. So let's say we want to use 7. Single, pair, pung. And then we have south. All right. So just remember north and south, odd. North and south for this card is relating to odd numbers for this hand. All right, so we made the hand correctly. We'll move on to the next line. Line 6. So we have like even numbers in 3 suits. So this is basically the same as before, but east and west is being associated with even numbers. So these 2s here, they can be any even numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8. So we have east, and then just as before, I'm just going to make one example of this because it's basically the same as the odd hand, except we're using evens. Will be single, pair, pung. So I used 4s, but we could have used 2s, 6s, or 8s, just as long as they were all the same number. All right. So we'll go ahead and move on. Line 7A, News 2025. And this has 2 options in here. So 2025, any one suit. So we'll get to that part in a second. But for this one, we have to make this hand exactly as it's shown. Again, for the National Mahjong League card, you'll notice north and south are pretty much always going to look the same for the most part. That first hand, they were both the same number in the groupings. So we had that Kong, pung, pung, Kong, and then we had pung, Kong, Kong, pung pattern going on. Well, now we're seeing pair, pung, pung, pair, and north and south being the same number of tiles. So pairs for the south and north, pung for the east and west. So we have pair, pung, pung, pair. 2025, it says any one suit. So I'm not sure really why they specified it like that. But the correct way it would look would be like 2025. Remember, the white dragon does not associate to a specific suit whenever it is being used as a 0. So even though we're using it with cracks, that's still fine. So see, we correctly made the hand, so that's right. So instead of using cracks there, we could have done the 225 in BAMs or dots. Yeah, I'm really not sure why they used any one suit there, unless they think people would have tried to mismatch the numbers. The only thing I can think of is that they were trying to like look at it as somebody might do, you know, something like this, which wouldn't be correct, and use 2 suits for some reason. But we know it just always has to be one suit. And we can't use jokers in here. So that was the old hand. Accidentally skipped on to move to the next hand, but we're on line B now. So it has a little bit of a change in here. Instead of north and south being pairs, east and west is now our pair, and north and south has been moved to the pungs. So north, pung, east pair, west pair, south pung. And then we have the same thing again, 2025. So 2025, perfectly fine. We also could have done 2025. That would have worked as well. Same with the cracks. We could have done it in cracks. All right, made the hand correctly. Go ahead and move on. This is the final hand in the Winds and Dragons category, and it is a concealed hand. So we have pair, pair, pung, pung, Kong. So we have an incline going on here. Starting out as pairs, working our way up to Kongs. You can't call for any of these tiles, and there's really no flexibility in this except for the dragon. It has to be north and east are pairs, west and south are pungs. So I know that kind of goes against what I was saying earlier, but they do change it up a little bit. So as a general rule of thumb, I like to always think north and south go together, but there are these special instances where hands will mix it up a little bit. So pair, pair, west, south. So pair, pair, pung, pung. Dragon, we can use any dragon we want as long as it's the same dragon. So Kong of soaps, Kong of reds, Kong of greens. Any of them would be fine. And then these would never change. And then just remember, north and east, they're pairs. We cannot use jokers in them. West and south, pungs, and the Kong of dragons. We could use jokers in any of these groupings right here. As many as we wanted. All right, so that's the correct way to make that hand. Hopefully going over this section helped you out some. Next section, we're going to be going over 369. Okay, so for 369, there are 6 hands in this section. Or at least 6 lines, I should say. We have first line being a line A, 1A, 1B type thing, like we've seen on some of the other lines in the different categories. We have that same pattern coming up again, pung kong, pung kong. So we have 3, 6, 6, 9. This hand was on the 2024 card. It was just pung pung kong kong. But now we got pung kong, pung kong. So as long as the 3 and 6 are in the same suit because the color is the same, will be good. And then the 6, 9, as long as these are in the same color or same suit, will be good because the color matches. So we have pung, kong, pung, kong. And then we could have done cracks here or cracks here. Wouldn't have mattered. Could have done cracks, dots. We would have been good either way, just as long as we had 2 suits represented and our 3, 6 was the same suit, and then the 6, 9 for the second half of the hand was also the same suit. All right, so line B, this one's any 3 suits. So again, this hand was on the 2024 card. It was just pung, pung, kong, kong. Now we're seeing pung, kong, pung, kong. So we'll do pung, kong, pung, kong, because we're in 3 suits. So we have 3, 6 in 1 suit. We have a color change on the card. So we're into our second suit. And then we have a color change again on the card. So we're into our third suit. So correctly made it. We could have also done 3, 6, 6, 9. This would have been fine as well. So the first two groupings are always going to be the same suit, and second suit and then third suit for the remaining groupings, 3, 6, 6, 9. All right, and then they added in an addition on here. So going back to the other sections, we have the same pattern going on for the addition. So, or at least for addition with the 2, 4, 6, 8 section. The odd section addition is a little bit different. But the 2, 4, 6, 8 section, it had the same pattern. Pair, Kong, Kong, Kong. So we have pair. And the only thing that it specifies in this is any 3 suits. Oh wait, sorry, I'm in 2, 4, 6, 8. So any 1 suit right here. So all the same color here. So we have to do 3, 6, 9. Which, funny enough, they made this hand look different. But this is actually the exact same hand that was on the 2024 card. They just didn't have any like math symbols in it. It was just flower, flower, 3, 6, 9 in Kongs, just as it's shown here without the plus and the equal sign. So really, this is the exact same hand from the 2024 card. So we could have done dots here. Also could have done BAMs. 3, 6, 9. All right, so pretty easy hand, all 1 suit, only using 3, 6, 9. And then same thing with this one, except we're using any 3 suits. This hand was on the 2024 card as well. Flower, flower with Kongs of 3, 6s, and 9. Just as long as use different suits for each number. So we can go with dots, cracks, BAMs. Perfectly fine for this hand. Also could have done flower, flower, BAM, crack, dot. That would work as well. All right. And then for the third hand, we are going to be doing any 2 suits. Like Kongs 3, 6, or 9 with matching dragons. All right. So this hand was also on the 2024 card. Funny enough, it was Pung Kong, which would have made sense with this card, I feel like. But now we have Kong Pung. So they inverted it. So I'll just show an example just as the card goes. So we have Kong with a matching dragon because we're same color here. So we used dots here, so we have to use the white dragon right there. And then we can use cracks or BAMs for this next part, doesn't matter. We have 3s, we use BAMs, so we have to use the green dragon. So we could have done cracks and the red dragon, also would have been fine. And then what it is saying whenever it says like Kong's 3, 6s, or 9s, it's just meaning that for the 3s, we could have done 6s for the both of them, or 9s. So just like this. Whoops. This is also fine. If these were nines and these were nines, that'd also be fine. Just kind of think of this as a like number hand, but it's under 369, so you can only use the numbers 3, 6, or 9. You can't do threes here and sixes here. They have to both be the same numbers. All right. So next we are on to any two suits with this fourth line. Have a pung of flowers, and then we have Kong, single, single, Kong. So we had a hand similar to this. It was under odds. There were no flowers in it, but it used pairs. So we start out with Kongs. So we'll go dots. Didn't matter. We could have done bams or cracks. We're doing two suits for this hand. We have a color change. So 3, 6, and 9 have to be the same suit because they are the same color. We can do 3, 6, 9. And then our 9s change back to the original color. So we use dots here. So we have to use 9 dots. So two suits only. And then these are singles. We cannot use jokers here, but we can use jokers in the rest of the hand. All right, so that was an example of that hand. And then alternatively, we could have done it this way as well. Just so we're covering our bases, and hopefully this is helping everybody understand two colors, two different suits. As long as the 3 and 9 match for the Kongs, you're good. All right, line 5. We have pair, 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 Kong, Kong. So we go ahead and look at the card, and it says any 3 suits like Kongs, 3s, 6s, or 9s. So it doesn't matter which suit we use here as long as our 3, 6, 9 are all the same suit. So we can go 3, 6, 9 for our pairs. And then our Kongs, the card has the example of 3s. This is correct, but it says like Kongs, 3s, 6s, or 9s. We also could have done these as 6s, or alternatively 9s. So either way, this was correct. As long as our Kongs are the same number, we're good. And as long as all three suits are represented, then we're also good. So as long as our pairs are one suit, a Kong is the second suit, and the other Kong is the third suit, we're good. So just remember our color change on the card. And remember, no jokers in these pairs. Last hand under 3, 6, 9. We are on any 3 suits with matching dragons. So there's no lenience in this hand. You have to put it exactly as it's shown using 3 suits. So we have flower, flower, and it's also a concealed hand, I'll note. So no calling for this hand. It doesn't matter which suit we use here. We just need to make sure all 3 suits are represented. So we can use bamboos here. Since we use bamboos here, the dragon has to match because they're the same color. So we have green. We have our 6s. There's a color change, so they had to be a different suit. The dragon has to match. And then the 9, we only have 1 suit remaining, so it has to be dots. And we have to have the white dragon. So we could have done cracks with the red, dots with the white dragon, and bams with the green dragon. Also would have been perfectly fine for this hand. The dragons, since they are singles, you cannot use jokers to replace them. You cannot use jokers for the pair of flowers. The only place you can use jokers in here is for the grouping of 3, 6, or 9, since they are pungs. You cannot call for anything since it's a concealed hand. So we go ahead and validate. We made the hand correctly. So that's going to wrap up 369, and then we are on to our last section, which is singles and pairs. All right, so for this last section, singles and pairs, there are 6 hands in this section. And then something to note with singles and pairs, I'll just go ahead and say it now, and then I won't bug it with you guys every single time we go through it. Singles and pairs, the hands are all concealed. You have to draw every single tile except your winning tile, which can be called from any player that discards it. You cannot use any jokers at all in this section. The hands are all joker free. You'll notice that looking at the card, the values of the hands are more, and that's because they're already being accounted for as being jokerless. So with the first singles and pairs hand, we have news with a run. So it says any one suit, any 4 consecutive numbers. So we have single or pair, single, single, pair, and then pair, 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 pair. So I feel like it's somewhat common to see this in a hand. Last year on the 2024 card, this was also a similar use pattern for news. Or maybe it wasn't last year, maybe it was the year before. I don't know. I've seen this before. They like to do this type of pattern. News looks, I think it looks good like this. And I'm sure it's why they keep using it. So news, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 all in one suit. So it doesn't matter which suit. We can do bams, cracks, or dots. We'll go ahead and use cracks. 1, 2, 3, 4. So news, 1, 2, 3, 4, any 4 consecutive numbers. So this is a correct way to make this hand. Alternatively, we can make it with dots, and with it being consecutive numbers, we have to remember we don't do wraparounds in National Mahjong League. So this number right here, the largest number it can be is a 6. So 6, 7, 8, 9 would be correct. So we can go ahead and do that. All the same suit. Alternatively, could have used bamboos. We could have done 4, 5, 6, 7. Also would have been fine. All right, next hand, 2, 4, 6, 8 hand for singles and pairs. Any 2 suits with matching dragons. So what we have here is pair flowers, a group of singles, a pair, a group of singles, and a pair. So 2, 4, 6, 8, all one suit because it's all one color. The dragon, the color is matching. We used cracks, so we have to use a red dragon for our pair of dragons in this place. Next, we have a color change, so we can do dots, 2, 4, 6, 8. We also could have done bamboos here if we wanted to. But we chose dots. Since we chose dots, have to use matching dragon. So we have 2 white dragons. So we could have had bamboos here with green dragons. That would have been fine. Go ahead and validate. Hand is good. Move on. Next we have singles and pairs. Line 3. It's a 3, 6, 9 singles and pairs hand. And it says in the parentheses, any 3 suits, pair, 3, 6, or 9 in third suit. So there's a little bit of flexibility in this. You have to do 2 sets of 3, 6, 9 with each number paired up. So we could do any suit we wanted right here, bams, cracks, or dots. Let's choose the dots. 3, 6, 9, so paired up, 3, 6, 9. We have a color change, 3, 6, 9, paired up again. So we could use cracks or bams here. Doesn't matter which one we use. We can use bamboos. All right, with having the dots and the bamboos, now we're on to the pair of threes. So if we made this hand as the card shows it, we have one suit, two suit, and then we have color change for the third suit. So we use dots and bams. So we'd have to use cracks here. What the card is saying whenever it says pair 3, 6, or 9 in third suit is we could do 6s or 9s. So 3, 6, or 9. That's the only flexibility in changing numbers with this one. So that's fine. We could have done bams, cracks, dots. That would have been perfectly fine if we made the hand that way as well. Just as long as we followed the color pattern with using our suits. All right. Singles and pairs, line 4. So slightly like a consecutive run going on here. It says any 3 suits, any 2 consecutive numbers. So if we make this the way the hand has it, we have flower, flower, 1, 2. Didn't matter which suit we used. Now our second suit, we have a color change. So we have a second suit, 1 and 2. We already used dots. We have to use cracks or bams. Doesn't matter which one we use. We can use bams here. Then we have color change again, 1, 2. Have to use cracks because we already used bams and dots. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So any 2 consecutive numbers. So you can't do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Has to only be 2 consecutive numbers, and they have to be the same numbers for each suit. So that's fine. Alternatively, we could do 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. That would be fine. And then making this hand, the biggest number this can be is an 8. No wraparound. So you can't do 9, 1, but we can do 8, 9, 8, 9, 8, 9. I think I messed up somewhere. Yeah, I missed one here. So 8, 8, 9, 9, 8, 8, 9, 9, 8, 8, 9, 9. All right, so hopefully that makes sense to everybody. And then on to line 5, we have an odd hand. Any 3 suits pairs any like odd numbers and opposite suits. So they like to get a little wordy with these, but we have all pairs in here. So it doesn't matter which suit we use. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9 is all in one color though. So this all has to be in the same suit. So we can do 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. These could have been bamboos, or sorry, these could have been characters, or they could have been dots. Either one would have been fine. The way the card shows it is we have 1, 1, 1, 1. So pairs of ones, but whenever the parentheses say any like odd numbers and opposite suits, we could have alternatively done 9, 9, 9, 9, or we could have done 5, 5, 5, 5, just as long as these pairs match and they're different suits and they're either 1s, 3s, 5s, 7s, or 9s, they would be fine. So we couldn't have done 5s here and 7s here. Had to both be 5s. All right, and then the final line on the 2025 card. So this is the big year hand. So we have all 3 suits being represented here. Flower, flower. It doesn't matter which suit we use here. We can do cracks 2, 0, 2, 5. So just remember, whenever the soap is being used as a 0, it is not associated with a specific suit. So it is considered as a neutral tile. So we have 2, 0, 2, 5 in cracks, 2, 0, 2, 5 in bams. And then we have to represent the third suit because it's any 3 suits for this hand. 2, 0, 5. All right, so that correctly made it. I hope that this helped you guys. Hopefully it clears up questions you may have on the hands and making them for the 2025 card. If there are any questions that you have, or maybe if I didn't explain some things very well, feel free to comment or send me a message and I'll be happy to answer any questions that you have on any of the hands on the card. Otherwise, I hope that you found this helpful, and hopefully I will see you in a future live stream or video.